Welcome to the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate Question Bank series. In this video, we'll work through 10 exam-style practice questions designed to help you prepare for the AWS certification exam. For each question, I'll reveal the correct answer and walk you through a detailed explanation, not only why the correct answer is right, but also why the other options are wrong. Here's how to get the most out of this video. When each question appears on the screen, pause the video, choose your answer, and then press play to see how you did. And if you'd like to review the previous 10 questions in this series, just click the previous video link at the end of this video. Ready to test your AWS knowledge? Let's get started. Question 51. Analysts want to run ad hoc SQL queries directly against data stored in Amazon S3 without managing any servers. Which service should they use? The correct answer is C, Amazon Athena. Amazon Athena is a serverless, interactive query service that runs SQL directly against data in S3. Now, why the other options are wrong? Amazon EC2 with a self-managed database is incorrect. A self-managed database on EC2 requires server management, unlike the serverless requirement. Amazon EBS is incorrect. EBS is block storage and cannot run SQL queries. AWS Direct Connect is incorrect. Direct Connect is a network service and cannot query data. Question 52. A workload has unpredictable, spiky traffic on an Amazon DynamoDB table, and the team does not want to manage capacity planning. Which capacity option is most appropriate? The correct answer is D, DynamoDB On-Demand Capacity Mode. DynamoDB On-Demand Capacity automatically scales to handle unpredictable, spiky traffic without capacity planning. Now, why the other options are wrong? A fixed, low-provisioned capacity is incorrect. A fixed, low capacity would throttle requests during spikes. Manually scaling capacity each morning is incorrect. Manual scaling cannot react to unpredictable spikes reliably. Migrating the table to Amazon S3 is incorrect. Migrating to S3 changes the data model and does not provide DynamoDB's key value performance. Question 53. A company must retain compliance archives that are rarely, if ever, accessed and can tolerate retrieval times of several hours. Which S3 storage class offers the lowest storage cost? The correct answer is A, S3 Glacier Deep Archive. S3 Glacier Deep Archive provides the lowest cost storage for long-term archives that are rarely accessed and tolerate hours-long retrieval. Now, why the other options are wrong? S3 Standard is incorrect. S3 Standard is for frequently accessed data and is far more expensive for archives. S3 Standard Infrequent Access is incorrect. Standard 1A costs more than Glacier Deep Archive and targets infrequent but immediate access. S3 Intelligent Tiering Frequent Access Tier is incorrect. The frequent access tier of Intelligent Tiering is priced like Standard, not the cheapest archive option. Question 54. A company purchased standard reserved instances but no longer needs some of them for the remainder of their term. How can it recoup value from the unused reservations? The correct answer is B. Sell the unused standard reserved instances on the Reserved Instance Marketplace. The Reserved Instance Marketplace lets you sell unused standard reserved instances to other AWS customers to recoup remaining value. Now, why the other options are wrong? Delete the reservations to stop all charges immediately is incorrect. Deleting or canceling reservations does not refund the committed cost. Convert them to spot instances is incorrect. Reserved instances cannot be converted into spot instances. Move them to Amazon S3 Glacier is incorrect. S3 Glacier is archival storage and is unrelated to reserved instances. Question 55. A company runs a steady, predictable production workload on EC2 around the clock and wants to reduce compute costs with a 1 or 3 year commitment. Which option provides the best savings? The correct answer is C, reserved instances, or a compute savings plan. For steady, predictable, always-on workloads, reserved instances or a savings plan provide significant discounts in exchange for a commitment. Now, why the other options are wrong? On-demand instances is incorrect. On-demand has no commitment but is the most expensive for steady usage. Spot instances for the production workload is incorrect. Spot is cheapest but can be interrupted, making it unsuitable for steady production capacity that must stay up. Dedicated hosts build on demand is incorrect. On-demand dedicated hosts are the most expensive option, used for licensing or compliance. Question 56. A company wants compute discounts that automatically apply across changing instance families, sizes, and regions, including AWS Fargate and Lambda usage. Which purchasing option offers this flexibility? The correct answer is D, compute savings plans. Compute savings plans offer discounts that flexibly apply across instance families, sizes, regions, and even Fargate and Lambda. Now, why the other options are wrong? Standard reserved instances for a specific instance type is incorrect. Standard reserved instances are tied to a specific instance family/region and are less flexible. Spot instances is incorrect. Spot instances provide variable discounts but can be interrupted and are not a commitment-based plan. Dedicated hosts is incorrect. Dedicated hosts are for licensing/compliance and are the most expensive option. Question 57. Application logs in Amazon S3 must move to cheaper storage after 30 days and be deleted after 1 year, automatically. How should this be implemented at the lowest operational effort? The correct answer is A. Configure an S3 lifecycle policy to transition, then expire the objects. An S3 lifecycle policy can automatically transition objects to a cheaper class after 30 days and delete them after 1 year. Now, why the other options are wrong? Manually move and delete objects with a monthly script is incorrect. A manual monthly script adds operational effort and risk of error. Copy objects to another bucket by hand each month is incorrect. Manually copying objects is error-prone and not automated. Enable S3 versioning is incorrect. Versioning retains multiple versions and does not transition or expire objects on a schedule. Question 58. A company runs a transient, fault-tolerant big data processing cluster that can recover from interruptions. Which approach minimizes the compute cost of the cluster? The correct answer is B. Run the cluster's worker nodes on EC2 spot instances. Spot instances offer the deepest discount and suit transient, fault-tolerant workloads that tolerate interruptions, such as big data processing. Now, why the other options are wrong? Run all nodes on on-demand instances is incorrect. On-demand is more expensive and unnecessary for interruptible work. Purchase 3-year reserved instances for the transient cluster is incorrect. 3-year reserved instances commit to long-term capacity, which is wasteful for a transient cluster. Use dedicated hosts for the worker nodes is incorrect. Dedicated hosts are the most expensive option and are not cost-optimized here. Question 59. EC2 instances in a private subnet send large volumes of traffic to Amazon S3 through a NAT gateway, generating high NAT data processing charges. How can the company reduce this cost? The correct answer is C. Create a VPC gateway endpoint for S3 so traffic bypasses the NAT gateway. A VPC gateway endpoint for S3 routes traffic privately and free of NAT data processing charges, reducing cost. Now, why the other options are wrong. Increase the NAT gateway size is incorrect. There is no NAT gateway size setting that reduces per gigabyte processing charges. Traffic still incurs cost. Move the instances to a public subnet with public IPs is incorrect. Moving to a public subnet changes the security posture and still incurs data transfer costs. Enable S3 versioning on the bucket is incorrect. Versioning does not affect NAT data processing charges. Question 60. A company suspects several EC2 instances are over-provisioned. Which AWS tool provides right-sizing recommendations to reduce cost? The correct answer is D. AWS Compute Optimizer. AWS Compute Optimizer analyzes utilization and recommending right-sizing to reduce cost and improve efficiency. Now, why the other options are wrong? Amazon Macie is incorrect. Macie discovers sensitive data and does not recommend instance sizing. AWS WAF is incorrect. WAF filters web traffic and is unrelated to right-sizing. Amazon Kinesis is incorrect. Kinesis handles streaming data and does not provide sizing recommendations. Question 61. An application receives infrequent, unpredictable requests, and the company wants to pay only when code actually runs, with no idle server cost. Which approach is most cost-effective? The correct answer is A. Use AWS Lambda with its pay-per-use pricing. AWS Lambda charges only for actual execution time, avoiding idle costs for infrequent, unpredictable workloads. Now, why the other options are wrong? Run a fleet of always-on EC2 on-demand instances is incorrect. Always-on EC2 instances incur cost even when idle. Reserve EC2 capacity for 3 years is incorrect. Reserving capacity for 3 years is wasteful for infrequent workloads. Provision a large EC2 instance running continuously is incorrect. A large always-on instance incurs continuous cost regardless of usage. Question 62. Which Amazon S3 storage class is the most cost-effective default for data that is accessed frequently and needs millisecond access? The correct answer is B. S3 Standard. S3 Standard is designed for frequently accessed data with millisecond access and is the appropriate default for that pattern. Now, why the other options are wrong? S3 Glacier Deep Archive is incorrect. Glacier Deep Archive is for rarely accessed archives with hours-long retrieval. S3 Glacier Flexible Retrieval is incorrect. Glacier Flexible Retrieval has delayed retrieval and suits archives, not frequent access. S3 One Zone Infrequent Access is incorrect. One Zone IA is for infrequently accessed data and stores in a single AZ. Question 63. A company serves the same static content to a global audience and wants to reduce repeated data transfer costs from its origin while improving performance. Which service helps achieve both? The correct answer is C. Amazon CloudFront. CloudFront caches content at edge locations, reducing repeated origin data transfer, lower cost, while improving performance. Now, why the other options are wrong? AWS Direct Connect is incorrect. Direct Connect provides dedicated connectivity but does not cache content to reduce transfer cost for global users. Amazon SQS is incorrect. SQS is a message queue and does not serve or cache content. Amazon EBS is incorrect. EBS is block storage and does not deliver content to users. Question 64. A company stores easily reproducible data, such as derived thumbnails, that is accessed infrequently and does not need multi-AZ resilience. Which S3 storage class minimizes cost for this case? The correct answer is D. S3 one-zone infrequent access. S3 one-zone 1A costs less than standard 1A by storing data in a single availability zone, which is acceptable for reproducible, infrequently accessed data. Now, why the other options are wrong? S3 standard is incorrect. S3 standard is more expensive and stores across multiple AZs, which is unnecessary here. S3 standard infrequent access is incorrect. Standard 1A stores across multiple AZs and costs more than one zone 1A for this reproducible data. S3 Glacier Deep Archive is incorrect. Glacier Deep Archive has hours-long retrieval, unsuitable for data that may be accessed on demand. Question 65. A company wants visibility into its AWS spending and recommendations for reducing cost, including identifying idle and underutilized resources. Which combination of services helps? The correct answer is A. AWS Cost Explorer and AWS Trusted Advisor. Cost Explorer visualizes and analyzes spending, and that's a wrap on this video. Nice work getting through those 10 questions. If this helped, you're going to want the complete set, all 390 exam-style questions, with full explanations across every exam domain are available in our Udemy course. The link is in the description below. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video, where I'll walk you through 10 more. See you in the next video.